Adam Zundel here with College Soccer News. Pleased to be joined by head coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies, Coach Mike Brizendine. Coach, off to a great start. Tell me a little bit about that 4-0 start, with including a couple of wins over some ranked teams.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been fun, but it's been a roller coaster of a ride. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, we're fortunate at where we're at with the teams that we've played and the environments that we've played in, but it's a work in progress and all preparation for the game that we have coming up.
I know we'll get to that in a minute. The reward for good play is a bigger mountain to climb. But what have you liked about your team so far in this early going?
Yeah, I like how we've come together. We brought back some key pieces, but we knew we had some holes that we had to fill. And obviously, Marcelo coming in with our group and Elias, those guys have been key factors for us, as well as, again, I think the guys that have been here have stepped up their game a little bit, and it's helped in production, especially in our defensive aspect.
Well, you talked about Marcelo Acuna, a hot start to say the least, 4 goals, and the important thing to me is 3-game winners. So it's not they didn't just come in one little bunch. That very important goals. Tell me about why he's been so effective for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, he is a winner. He loves to win. That's on the training ground. That's when we play, and I think there are 2 pieces about that, Adam. One, he's a dynamic forward. I mean, he gets around the box. I mean, he can score goals, and he can do it in many different ways. South Florida, he scored a great header, and then I guess he scored 2 headers, the one with Ohio State. But then he can also, when the ball's at his feet, do some things. I'll also say that, look, he's lifted the guys around him, so their game has improved. And so he's getting better services. I mean, Elias has served him some great balls, Sam SMA, Ryan Marcano, James Kazik. So I think it's a 2-piece product. He's doing it for us, but he's also getting some pretty good service and some help from the guys around him.
When you have a guy like that sounds to me, and you'd correct me if I'm wrong, that it's demanding. It can be a polite way of putting it. Sometimes it's maybe a little bit more forceful. And you talk about raising the game, and how does that, especially in that position, in the goal-scoring position, because you can have players that are demanding in other parts of the field, and it maybe doesn't have the same effect. How does that change the dynamic on the field? Yeah,
I mean, look, again, if you're going to be demanding, you have to show up. You have to produce. And the thing is, he continues to produce. So obviously the guys have a tremendous amount of confidence in him. And so it's easier for that. You talked about other positions. If you're, I don't know, maybe like a right back, that might be a little bit more difficult because how much impact are you making on the game? Again, he is, but again, and he's such a good kid. That also helps. He's a guy, if you watch our videos, if he gets tangled up with a opposing team, he's helping that guy up. I mean, he just loves being on the soccer field. He loves playing. That's also contagious.
You bring back a lot of leadership, and what I noticed is that you have captains that are in their 3rd years of captaincy. How important has that leadership been to, and I know we still have a long way to go, and we'll get to that too, but how important has that been to kind of get things going, not just in 4 games, but last spring and through the summer and everything?
Yeah, we, again, those guys, look, we felt that we've had some pretty good talent here the last 2 years, and the chemistry wasn't right, and we didn't have that last piece. And so, it was one of the things that I talked with those guys about even last spring, that what do you want your last year to be like? And, some of those guys have hopes of maybe playing after, and some of them just want to win. And so how they shape it is how it will go. And so they've really grasped onto that and been leading the group. And look, they've kept the chemistry. I think that they've helped our young guys come along, making them feel comfortable and making sure that, we stay the course.
You have had some good starts in the past couple of years particularly, and then once that ACC season starts and things get tough, it's been a little bit of a challenge. What are you liking about this team? And maybe it's the chemistry thing that's going to maybe be a little bit different this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, well, one, I mean, there's 2 pieces to that. Those rankings that came out, I mean, how's the ACC doing in those? We're doing fairly well. In the top 5, we're doing pretty well. And so, one, we play in the best league in the country, so that presents its own challenges. But as far as this team, I'll give you an indicator of what I like about them. South Florida, we're playing in our game, and we give up a goal. It's not a very good goal early on, and those kind of things have caused us trouble, again, especially against a very good South Florida team. But our team, it was like it didn't faze them. They just kept on going about their business, and we know how the night ended up. And that's just, I know it's a small thing, but it's an indicator, I think, of this group and the mentality. We feel like no matter what, we'll always be in a game, and we'll fight till the end.
How optimistic are you? Because if you look back at those, off to a pretty good start last year, and you're losing games or you're drawing games that, by one goal, or you're drawing. I mean, as you mentioned, every night you're going to get somebody really good. So, and you're playing those teams well. So did you feel like you're getting a little bit closer and that this is maybe a little bit the fruits of that labor?
Yeah, we do. And again, having someone like Marcelo or Colin or guys that are finishing the goals. I mean, again, you follow probably more games than I do, and it's a game of inches, right? That we've been so close, and we're fortunate enough this year that we're getting on the right side of those. But look, we've been in those games like Ohio State. We've grinded out. We thought, look, we could win, but a tie is probably fair, and then you end up with a loss. And so again, obviously, it's nice to be on this side of it for a change.
And now, as we mentioned before, you've got a tall task ahead of you. You got the number 1 team in the country. You have to go to their place. What kind of challenges does Notre Dame present? And one of the things, and you talked about following I watched some of their games last week. One of the things that stuck out to me, and you can maybe give me sort of the technical aspects, was their fight. They're the Fighting Irish, but they play all the way through.
Look, Coach Clark's teams are going to be good. They're gonna come after you. They're not going to back down. They're all very good soccer players, so they do a lot of things very well. And again, look, they have a special player in Gallagher, right? I mean, I think that kid is a legit player. So, and there are a number of others, but he's scoring a bunch of goals for them. Look, for us, it's an opportunity. Right. I mean, we're going to the number 1 team. It will help us no matter what happens to get better and to know where we are, how we stack up against it. But we need to bring our A game. Because they've played a lot of good teams. So.
How do you approach it as a coach? Are you going to say, hey, we're the underdog, we got this chip on our shoulder, or are you going to say, hey, look, we're every bit as good as these guys, and we're going to go out there and show it? I mean, or do you kind of try to balance that some way?
Yeah, I shoot for the balance. Again, I don't want our guys to be intimidated, but also, right. You have to respect. We can't just go out there and think that once the whistle's blown, we're going to win that game, because again, they are going to fight for what they've worked so hard for. And so, but I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it's a good matchup. I think, you're going to see a lot of good players going after it on Friday night. And
win or lose, you have to kind of keep them on an even keel, win, lose, or draw, I guess I should say. How have you tried to approach, you're in your 8th season, I believe, there at Virginia Tech. How have you tried to kind of say, look, one game doesn't make it, one game doesn't break it, and how have you learned as a coach maybe to kind of impart that to your players? Yeah,
I mean, look, our motto for this year is just it's one game. I'd tell the players, look, if I could hand them a schedule, it wouldn't have any names on it. It would say game 1, game 2, game 3, because that's what it is. Because the reality is every game's important, right? There's no games you can afford to lose, and every team's going to come after you, especially when you're an ACC team. So that's the way that we approach it. Notre Dame is just the next game, and we need to prepare for them like we prepare for everybody else. And then, look, our approach when we play Longwood on Tuesday will be the same way, because they're the next game. And so we have to approach it that way. Anything else is not good.
What about your approach to getting some of this national attention and recognition? Obviously, you're going to a team that's ranked higher, but you're going to play a team like Longwood that's not ranked, but still very dangerous. So, do you embrace it? Do you talk? What do you do?
Yeah, again, I tell the guys, good work. They've earned it, but I mean, look, 4 games does not make a season, and so we are far, far away from some of our goals. And again, we're about to hit. I say we're going to hit the meat of our schedule. Look, our schedule is very, very difficult, and so, so that's one good thing about it. Every game is that kind of game for us. So we're getting into that rhythm that we're accustomed to playing some very, very good teams. Yeah, I mean, again, like that Georgetown game was a good preparation for us. I mean, they're very good. I know their record doesn't indicate it as much, but look, Brian does a great job. Their team's very good. They've played very, very good teams, and watch them the rest of the season. They're gonna do big things. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I think when a lot of people saw that result, I think it wasn't like, oh, Georgetown. I think it was like, wow, Virginia Tech's really got it going. So, you're right. Georgetown, very, very organized, I think, and play very well. So you're happy to have found a way to break them down, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Look, it's gonna be a very similar game, I think, to Notre Dame. I think the kind of teams you're talking about, every one of those guys at Georgetown, they could play. They were very good. They were moving well, and they had some special pieces. So it was and it's a hard place to play too, So yeah, it was good prep for what we have in store on Friday.
All right, Coach, that's all I've got for you. Thanks so much for squeezing us in. Safe travels out to South Bend. Good luck on Friday night.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.